fun begins. It'd be more fun if I had a little more clear space in front of me. I burped the engine by doing a downshift to see if that could send a little hint. I'm only doing 43. That's a decent warm-up for what's coming. Just pacing along in third gear. Going left, right, left, right. Hope you can hear me talking over the engine. It's a 15 mile an hour, 180 degree curve coming, and I guarantee you when I finish the curve, I got to do a quick uphill. So we'll downshift, come through the curve, and we're uphill, and now we got to do a lefty. There we go. Thank you, sir. It's very important to maintain the lanes here. In fact, where they do have police presence, they're more likely to give you a ticket for not staying in your lane than they are for whatever speed you happen to be going. Because getting out of your lane kills people. Earlier today, I did have a bike come into my lane, and I understand why he did it. He was coming through a curve, and there were some people that were in one of the pull-offs, and they just jumped back onto the road without looking to see if anybody was on the road, and the bike had to take an evasive action. Unfortunately, it was right into my lane, and fortunately, I saw him before he saw me, and I was able to slow down enough to let him squeeze by. Am I making you dizzy yet? This was where the bike came out, but somebody was in that pull-out where this bike turned in, and the Mustang jumped out. I was going the other way, and the biker swung out to his left and almost parked himself on my hood. And trade a slow biker for a slow Mercedes. Okay, I think I'd rather have the biker. All these little pull-off areas, and he saw one. Thank you, sir. And we're back at it. Waterford Hills, etc., they don't let me run this on the track unless I put a roll bar in it. That is not happening. If I had just bought a coupe, like a Camaro 1LE, something like that, that's made for the track, and it's a hardtop coupe, then I could probably manage it, at one of those tracks. But when I retired, I said I have to have a convertible. So in the balance, I'm happy. I can still drag race it when I feel like it, and then when I come down here, I can pretend like I'm on a road course and do my thing. Nobody in the back saying, "Are we there yet?" There are no potty breaks on the tail of the Dragon, although there are times when people have gone potty. I'm proud to not be among that group. You notice you're not hearing any tire squealing. I have some really, really good tires on this car. I recently changed my wheels and put on wheels and tires from a Camaro 1LE, which are quite a bit wider than mine, and they're softer and grippier, and so I'm able to make these curves a lot more confidently than I could in the run flat summer tires that came with this car. Now, even though I don't know how many miles were on these tires when I got them, and yes, there have been some miles on them, and they've been well used, they are definitely doing their thing. To give you an idea of the difference in the wheels and tires from what came with this car and what comes with the Camaro 1LE, which is where I got these wheels and tires from. The front tires were always a little narrower than the rear tires because you get better traction on the rear. The front tires with these new wheels are wider than the rear tires were with my original wheels. So, I mean, I got fat rubber all the way around. And it's doing its job. It's sticking hard. I'm not sliding. I'm not scraping or burning out rubber or anything like that. It's just staying planted and getting me through these curves like a champ. Unfortunate incident in how I got the wheels and tires, though. I just happened to be looking on local Craigslist just to see if I could find the wheels, and a guy had he had a Camaro 1LE, and he had a very unfortunate accident with a deer. The deer and his car were both casualties, but salvaged the wheels and tires, so I bought them and put them on my car, and now we're having fun. When we came into town yesterday, there was about 14 or 15 of us. I made sure I wasn't the lead driver because I know that I'm liable to overdo it. So I was the second driver. And one of the ladies in our group pulled off and threw up, and then kind of drove in more slowly a little later. In fact, it took her so long to get to the lodge where we're staying that we didn't know what happened to her for a while. And the phone reception up here, let me just say, if it was shitty, that would be an improvement. There was like no phone reception. So we couldn't contact her. We didn't know what was going on. And finally, when we were finishing dinner, we got a hold of her. And she came in and joined us, even though she was not quite riding in the slow group, of course, and that's not a slam on her. I mean, I give her credit for coming back through it all. But to be honest, to get to our lodge, you got to come this way. Seeing these signs that say 15, 25, 35, I guarantee you we're not going 15, 25, or 35. Now, we're not going 50 or 60 anymore. Well, maybe 50 in short stretches. But we are not doing the posted. The first time I did this, I kind of rode it through one direction just to kind of see what it was all about, and I took it really easy. And then I went back going the other way, and I had made up my mind I was going to double the speed limit at each of the curves. Stupid, stupid, stupid. For the most part, I did it, and I got through the course pretty fine. But then I drove up to Bowling Green for Camaro Fest, which is what we're doing on this trip here too. By the second day of Camaro Fest, I could not move my neck left to right. I had literally whiplashed myself by overdoing the tail of the dragon. So I'm keeping that in mind now on this route. But at the same time, I think I've learned how to drive it aggressively, but with enough sense to not injure myself. Very polite that these guys are pulling over. So, I mean, it doesn't always work out that way. It has on this trip, and I really appreciate that. And I understand, you know, we got to share the road and all that. And so I do try to share the road, but I do appreciate when they realize that our purpose out here is a little different than their purpose, and they give us the room to get out here and have some fun. I could probably take a little faster, but it comes up and it's like you know that on the other side of that curve is a huge drop off, so I kind of like pussyfoot my way through there and just kind of let it be. I don't know when I'm going to have the guts to take that at the rate that I can possibly take it. It's just like, not today. Miles left on the Dragon, and then we're going to pass the shop that's actually called Tail of the Dragon and continue on another road that is also curvy but not as tight as this, and that takes us back to our hotel. I'll spare you the filming and the editing, audio commentary of that drive back to the lodge, but just wanted to give everybody who cares and some who don't a feel of what it is like, driving like a semi-well-behaved maniac on the tail of the Dragon. And where is this located? It's kind of interesting because right now we're in Tennessee, and in about a mile and a half we're going to cross from Tennessee into North Carolina, and then that's where the trail ends. And our lodge that we're staying at is also in North Carolina. We're staying in Fontana, North Carolina, and where the Tail of the Dragon store is a little area called Deals Gap. It's kind of a haven for motorcyclists because they do come and run this trail, just like we're doing today in the Camaro. So but it's not just for motorcycles, it's also for sports cars. And that's why I'm doing this yet again today, because I like my sports car and I don't get to misbehave in it that often. There's a lot of times just driving around Detroit, especially Chargers and Challengers, people challenge me every day. I mean, there's hardly a day that I pull up to a light and somebody, usually a Charger or Challenger, often a Mustang, will pull up, start revving their engine, start just getting goofy, and I'm like, I like my license too much for that crap. So, and people die. Been a lot of that in Detroit where drag racers wind up either killing themselves or innocent bystanders, and I'm not about all that noise. So I do all my high-speed driving either at the drag strip or places like this. Watch it be a real tight 180, curve right, then go left and uphill.